Welcome back to Yehoshua's Daf Yomi Shiur, where the Daf continues daily until the complete revelation of Mashiach ben David, Messiah the son of David. And we're holding now in Tractate Chullin, page 90b, and the last three words of 90a were the Rabbi Mechubarin de Hetera. But Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi holds that with regard to sinews and bones that are attached to the flesh, and that are permitted to be. And now we're turning to 90b, top of the page. Lo itzrich kral raboye ki itzrich kral legid hanashim mechubar. It was not necessary for the verse to include them. When a verse was necessary, it was for the sciatic nerve that is still attached to the flesh. The term it all teaches that if the sciatic nerve is attached to the flesh, it is brought up to the altar. V'rabanan mimashke Yisrael minamutar liYisrael. And the rabbis would explain their opinion based on the verse, and one lamb of the flock out of 200 from the well-watered pastures of Israel for a meal offering, and for a burnt offering, and for a peace offering, and for peace offerings, to make atonement for them, says the Lord God. Ezekiel 45:15. Since the term mashke also means beverage, which is consumed, the verse is interpreted to mean that offerings may be sacrificed only from that which is permitted to the Jewish people for consumption. Since the sciatic nerve is not permitted for consumption, it may not be sacrificed on the altar. Consequently, the term it all is understood to include sinews and bones, even if they have become detached from the flesh. And Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi would respond that a sciatic nerve that is attached to the flesh may be brought up to the altar, just as it is permitted to sacrifice forbidden fat and blood upon the altar, even though they are forbidden for consumption. And the rabbis would say that forbidden fat and blood are different, because the Torah explicitly states that their mitzvah is to be offered on the altar in this way, whereas the Torah never mandates the sacrifice of the sciatic nerve upon the altar. According to Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, Rabbi Chia bar Yosef agrees with Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi that the sciatic nerve is offered upon the altar together with the rest of the animal, whereas Rabbi Yochanan holds, in accordance with the opinion of the rabbis, that the sciatic nerve is not offered upon the altar. Amar Rav Huna gid hanashi sheloilach v'eltzon tapuach. Amar Rav Chizda mari dechi mi chesiv al kein lo yochel mizbeach. The Gemara cites another discussion with regard to the sciatic nerve of a burnt offering. Rav Huna says the sciatic nerve of a burnt offering is not placed upon the altar with the rest of the animal. Rather, one removes it and places it on the circular mound of ashes in the center of the altar. Rav Chizda said, master of this ruling, it is written in the Torah, therefore the altar does not consume the sciatic nerve. This would indicate that it is prohibited to sacrifice the sciatic nerve on the altar. Rather, it is written, therefore the children of Israel eat not the sciatic nerve, Genesis 32:33. And Rav Huna holds that the phrase, from the well-watered pastures of Israel, indicates that offerings may be sacrificed only from that which is permitted to the Jewish people. Since the sciatic nerve is not permitted for consumption, it may not be sacrificed upon the altar. Meisvei yir hanashe shel shlamim michabdo le'amo v'shel oila maleu ma'ila maleu umaktiro. The Gemara raises an objection to Rav Huna's opinion. It is taught in Braita, what should one do with the sciatic nerve of a peace offering? Since the meat of the offering must be eaten, but the sciatic nerve is forbidden, one sweeps it to the temple courtyard drain. And in the case of the sciatic nerve of a burnt offering, one brings it up to the altar. The Gemara comments, what is it not that the Braita means that he brings it up to the altar and burns it with the rest of the animal, which contradicts the statement of Rav Huna, Lo maleo v'cholzo, u'me'achar shecholzo lama malehu mishum shene'emar hakriveu na lepechasecho. The Gemara responds, no, the Braita means that he brings it up to the altar and removes it from the thigh before placing the thigh on the fire. The Gemara asks, but since he removes it from the thigh, why does he bring it up to the altar? The Gemara answers that one cannot bring the thigh up to the altar after the sciatic nerve has been removed, because it is stated with regard to one who sacrifices offerings that are damaged or unattractive. Present it now unto your governor. Will he be pleased with you, or will he accept your person? Says the Lord of Hosts, Malachi 1:8. Consequently, the leg of the animal must be brought up to the altar while it is whole, and the sciatic nerve must be removed on the top of the altar. It is taught in a Braita, in accordance with the opinion of Rav Huna, with regard to the sciatic nerve of a peace offering, one sweeps it into the temple courtyard drain, and with regard to the sciatic nerve of a burnt offering, one removes it and places it on the circular mound of ashes in the center of the altar. Tenan hasam tapuach haya be'emtza mizbeach. Palmi maya alav keshalosh mriyas kol amar Rava Guzma. We learned in the Mishnah there, in Talmud 28b, there was a circular mound of ashes in the center of the altar, and sometimes there was as much as 300 core of ashes upon it. Rava said this description is an exaggeration. The Tana means merely that there was a significant quantity of ashes. Ishku esatomid because shel zahav. Rava Guzma. Guzma is an exaggeration. It'd be interesting to find out the gematria of that. See, Mem Aleph is 41. 41 plus 7 is 48. 48 plus 6 is 54. And 54 plus 3 is 57. So Guzma equals 57. So I think it's one of those good words to have a gematria knowledge of. Guzma is 57. By the way, it equals Mizbeach as well. Altar. 57, also Dagim, fish. Okay. Similarly, it is taught in a Mishnah, Tamid 38, that before slaughtering the daily offering, the priest gave the lamb selected for the daily offering water to drink in a golden cup, in order to render the animal easier to fillet after slaughter. With regard to this Mishnah, Rava said it is an exaggeration, as the priests did not actually let the animal drink from a golden vessel. Amar Ravami, Dibra Torah Lashon Havai, Dibra Neviim Lashon Havai, Dibra Chacham Lashon Havai, Dibra Chacham Lashon Havai Ad Yamanan. The Gemara provides other examples of statements not meant literally. Rabbi Ami says, in some instances, the Torah spoke employing exaggerated language. The prophets spoke employing exaggerated language. And the sages spoke employing exaggerated language. The fact that the sages spoke employing exaggerated language is evident from that which we stated above concerning the mound of ashes and the lamb of the daily offering. Dibra Torah Lashon Havai, Arim Gedolos U'Tzuos B'Shamayim. Dibra Neviim Lashon Havai, Batibaka Etzekolam. The Torah spoke employing exaggerated language. As is written, "Hear Israel, you are passing over the Jordan this day to go into dispossessed nations greater and mightier than you, cities great and fortified up to heaven." Deuteronomy 9:1, this week's parsha. I think, yeah. Whereas the fortifications obviously did not reach up to heaven. The prophets spoke employing exaggerated language, as is written, with regard to the coronation of King Solomon, and all the people came up after him, and the people piped with pipes, and rejoiced with great joy, so that the earth rent with the sound of them. 1 Kings 1:40, where the verse merely means that the sound was very loud. Okay. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak bar Nachmani, Amar Shmuel b'shlosh mekom Yisrael Chachamim lashon Havai, Elohim, Tapuach, Gefen u'Peroches. Tapuach. Hadi Amaron. Rabbi Yitzchak bar Nachmani says that Shmuel says in 3 places the sages spoke in exaggerated language, and there with regard to the circular mound of ashes on the altar, the vine, and the curtain separating the sanctuary and the Holy of Holies. The case of the circular mound of ashes is what we said. Gefen, it's non. Gefen shel zov haisa medes al pischoy shel eichel mudlal gabe kulon so suchol mishayom misnadiv gargir o eshkol mevi v'tolabo Amar Rabbi Elazar ben Rabbi Tzadok Maaseh haya v'nimenu aleha shlosh minos kohanim yipanosa. The case of the vine is, as we learned in the Mishnah Midot 36a, a golden ornament in the form of a vine was standing at the entrance to the sanctuary, and it was hung upon poles. And whoever would donate an ornamental golden leaf, grape, or cluster of grapes to the temple would bring it to the temple and hang it upon the vine. Rabbi Lazar, son of Rabbi Tzadok, said there was once an incident, and 300 priests were enlisted to move the vine because of its immense weight. According to Shmuel, this description is also an exaggeration. It's not Mishum Hasigan, Baroches, Oviab Tefach, Ve'ashivim Ushnayim Nirim, Nereges, Ve'alkonim, Avenim 24 Chutin, Odgar Boimamo, Verachbares Bamam, Bushmonim Ushtei Riboy Nasis, Ushtayim Oisim Ashonam Shlosh Meyos Kohanim, Matbilim Ota. The case of the curtain is, as we learned in the Mishnah, Shkalim 8:2. Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel says, in the name of Rabbi Shimon, the deputy high priest, the curtain is the thickness of a handbreadth. It is woven from 72 strands of yarn, and each and every strand of those 72 is made from 24 threads, consisting of 6 threads, each of sky blue wool, purple wool, scarlet wool, and fine linen. Its length is 40 cubits, the height of the sanctuary, and its width is 20 cubits, the width of the entrance. And it is made from 80 to 10 thousandths, meaning 80 to 10 thousandths, in other words, 820,000 dinars. And the overseers of the temple make 2 new curtains every year. 2 new curtains every year. And the curtain was so heavy that when it was immersed, 300 priests would immerse it. V'yerach shel yamin v'yerach shel smol. Masnis lo Rabbi Yehuda d'Tanya Rabbi Yehuda omer eno nogel b'achas v'das michras es shel yamin. The Mishnah teaches that the prohibition of the sciatic nerve applies to the thigh of the right leg and to the thigh of the left leg. The Gemara says the Mishnah is not in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, as it is taught in a Braita that Rabbi Yehuda says the prohibition of the sciatic nerve applies only to the sciatic nerve in one of the animal's thighs, and logic dictates that it is the right thigh. A dilemma was raised before the sages. It is obvious to Rabbi Yehuda that the prohibition applies only to the sciatic nerve in the right thigh. Accordingly, what does he mean when he says that logic dictates? He means the logic of the Torah, or perhaps he is uncertain as to whether it applies only to the right thigh or to the left, And accordingly, what does he mean when he says logic dictates? He means that logic inclines one to believe that the prohibition applies to the right thigh. Tashima, Thomas Gidim, and I say is the rule Shisha, sort of having about Havi, Hanigidin Maya Viditayu, Igidibasar Lichlino, O Diayatur, Hainu Notar, Elagide Tavori Lav Basorninu, Lishidinu. The Gemara suggests coming here resolution based on the following Mishnah. Psachim 83a, the bones of the Paschal offering that contain edible marrow, but cannot be eaten because it is prohibited to break the bones of the Paschal offering, and the sinews and the leftover meat should all be burned on the 16th of Nisan, not on the 15th, the first day of Passover. And we discussed it. What are the circumstances in which these sinews must be burned? If we say they are sinews of meat, let one eat them. Why are they burned? And if they are sinews that were left over not eaten, that is the case of leftover meat. Why does the Mishnah list sinews separately? Rather, the Mishnah is referring to sinews of the neck, which are different from other sinews and are therefore mentioned separately. But if they are not meat, why do they require burning? Let one simply discard them like other waste. Rav Chizda said the Mishnah has mentioned of sinews is necessary only in order to teach the halacha of the sciatic nerve, and in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, who said the prohibition of the sciatic nerve applies only to the sciatic nerve in one of the animal's thighs, but not to both. The Gemara explains how this resolves the dilemma. Granted, if you say that Rabbi Yehuda is uncertain as to whether it is a sciatic nerve of the right or left thigh, it works out well. Since it is uncertain which thigh may be eaten, one may not eat either of them, and one must burn each of them on the 16th, due to the possibility that it was the permitted one, and now has the status of leftover meat. But if you say that it is obvious to Rabbi Yehuda that the sciatic nerve of only the right thigh is forbidden, let him eat the sciatic nerve of the permitted left thigh, and let him throw away only the sciatic nerve of the forbidden right thigh. Neither one should be burned. Amar Rav Ika bar Chanina le'oilam ei malach mifshet pshitale v'hachabayaskinan keshehukru ulevasov nis'arvu. The Gemara responds, Rav Ika bar Chanina said, actually I could say to you that it is obvious to Rabbi Yehuda that the sciatic nerve is of only the right thigh is forbidden. Nevertheless, here we are dealing with a case where the sciatic nerves were identified and removed, but ultimately the sciatic nerves became intermingled, and one cannot tell which is from the right thigh and which is from the left thigh. Consequently, they must both be left over until the next day and then burned.